What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Chrissy Mack, and I'm back with another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the signs of kidney failure. I remember when I started to notice the signs of kidney failures, and that actually led me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I was at end-stage renal disease, guys, which is also known as ESRD. During that time, I was battling high blood pressure on top of my lupus, which I believe had a factor of me reaching end-stage renal disease. Just because you don't feel the symptoms doesn't mean that things are getting worse. For a long time, I did not feel the kidney disease. You know, they would say, oh, you know, your numbers are increasing. Well, I'm like, I don't feel like my numbers are increasing. In the early stages, I didn't feel much. And you may not be experiencing anything right now. That's why it's so important that you go to the doctor and you run these annual tests so they can catch this early. Not feeling these symptoms can actually make it very dangerous. So today I'm going to be discussing 12 signs that you may be going through kidney failure. So if you guys know anyone that can benefit from these types of videos, please go ahead and share it with them. And if you're new to my channel, what's up? Take a moment and subscribe. And don't forget to click that notification bell. And if you've done that, welcome to the family. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So the first sign that I noticed something was going on was I had a lot of nausea and vomiting. At the time, I didn't know what was happening. I was just throwing up everywhere. And I mean, literally everywhere. In the shower, in the sink, it didn't matter. I was always throwing up. So that was the first sign that I knew something internally wasn't right. The second sign is I had a loss of appetite. At that time, my appetite had decreased drastically. I wasn't really hungry. You know, the smells of certain foods just turned me off. And one thing I didn't really enjoy eating was like meats, eggs. So I just had a loss of appetite. I wasn't eating, you know, the nourishing foods that I needed to because I'm just like, oh, I'm not hungry. I don't feel like it. But you need the proper foods to help boost up your immune system. And I was really bad at that just because I wasn't feeling well all the time. The third thing that I noticed is swelling in my feet and my ankles. At the time, I did not know that my kidneys were that bad. And so I was eating regular foods. So because I was eating regular foods, it had the salts. You know, salt retains fluid. So my ankles used to swell all the time. I used to always have to elevate my foot when I'm on the couch or elevate my foot at night on a pillow. I didn't really know what was going on, but these are signs. So if you're experiencing any of these, I would definitely tell you to go ahead and reach out to your doctor. So the fourth one, which I think was the most drastic for me, was the change in my urination. I used to have to feel like I had to pee all the time. And sometimes like, oh my God, I gotta go. I rush. It's 2 little drops. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why am I peeing like this? My pee patterns have definitely changed. And just to go right into the 5th step, which coincides, is that I had a lot of foamy pee, like bubbles. And that was a sign that there was protein leaking. And so when they say when you pee and you see a lot of bubbles in your pee when you look in the toilet, that means that something is going on with your kidneys. I was peeing a lot and it was foamy. So that was definitely an indication that my kidneys were starting to fail. I did finally go to the doctor and we did a 24-hour urine test. It showed that I had high protein count. So because my protein was that high, you know, at that time we decided that we needed to do a new kidney biopsy just to see where I was. And that's how they were able to determine how far along my kidneys really were. The 6th issue that I noticed is sleeping problems. I could not sleep at night. Yes, I was always a night owl, but it really became harder for me to fall asleep at night. Doctors say usually if you can't fall asleep, it's because maybe your electrolytes are off or some chemical imbalance is going on. And when they did test me, yep, my numbers were a little crazy. So I was having difficulties falling asleep at night. Even after my kidney transplant, I still really haven't noticed a difference. I'm still having a hard time sleeping at night ever since the surgery. So just not too sure, but I just know that my sleeping patterns are definitely off. Even though my sleeping patterns are off, I'm always fatigued. So that's the 7th thing, is fatigue. I'm always tired and drained. You know, during the day, it could be 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just feel like I just want to go to sleep. I want to pass out, but it's just so hard for my body to actually fall asleep. But fatigue, actually chronic fatigue, will also be a sign that something is actually going on. So the 8th thing is chest pains. I think I even talked about this in most of my dialysis videos. I used to get a lot of chest pains, and that's because the fluid was building up so much that it was going around my lungs, and so it just affected me where I had to sleep up most of the times. And the only thing that really helped me was when the doctor gave me prednisone, high doses of the prednisone. And I know that's not really good, but that was the only thing that helped my body at the time to get rid of massive chest pains that I was having. I did all my testing. I did EKGs, I had x-rays. We ruled out everything first, and we just noticed that it was just a lot of fluid building up into the body. So the ninth thing that I noticed is as my kidney progressed to get worse, my blood pressure was out of this world. It was so sky high. I mean, like 190 something over 100 and, you know, what, 101, 109. I've seen so many different numbers, but it was really high for me, my size, my body, my age. I didn't think it was normal to have high blood pressure like that, to the point that it got so bad that the doctor admitted me to the hospital because of that. So my numbers were high. I wasn't feeling good, some of the symptoms, and when I got to the hospital, like I said, I had end-stage kidney failure, actually. You also want to check your blood pressure because high blood pressure and diabetes are the two culprits to kidney disease. And I really feel that, you know, having a high blood pressure for so long, uncontrolled, really had an effect on me going downhill so fast. Muscle twitching will be the 10th symptom that I noticed. So sometimes my face will twitch, my body will twitch, my whole body will twitch. And you would think, oh my God, am I getting a seizure? But it wasn't a seizure. It was just a little quick twitch, quick, just like I got Tourette's or something, you know? So I was getting twitching, a lot of muscle twitching. And they say because, you know, things are off balance, you know, my numbers weren't all right. So I started developing muscle twitching, and I had that for quite some time. Even as I was going through the dialysis process and they were cleaning out my blood and the toxins, I would still develop muscle twitching. And a lot of that usually happened after I left dialysis. So on my way home, I'll be driving and I'll feel a twitch and I'll feel a twitch. And I asked my husband, am I twitching? Do you see? He's like, no, I don't really see, but I knew I was twitching. So don't think that you're crazy if you start to experience that. I just started feeling body twitching. The 11th symptom that I experienced was anemia. I have been anemic for some time, and usually I'll take my iron pills, I'll be okay, you know, because my pregnancy I was anemic, you know, so I was used to being anemic. But when my kidneys and getting into the end stage, it was really bad. So like I told you guys, when I got hospitalized that last time before I had to actually get my dialysis rolling, my number was a 6. So I was really anemic to the point where I had to get a blood transfusion. And that wasn't the only blood transfusion. I had to get a few blood transfusions before I got my kidney transplant because it was so severe. So they will pump me up, I'll be good, 30 days, everything's good. And then my numbers drop back down. So I'm like, what's going on? Why? You know, at one time we thought about doing a bone marrow test, but we wanted to make sure that was the last thing to do because I heard it was so painful. I don't know if anybody's had a bone marrow test. If you have, drop it in the comments, let me know what that felt like. But I heard it was very painful. So my doctor really didn't want to go that approach right away. So we tried different alternatives. And once I got on the iron 100, I think it was called, that helped boost up my numbers a little bit more. And then I started eating better. So for my anemia, I ate things that were good to help boost up my account, as well as taking my supplements that the doctor recommended me to take. And I'm not sure if anyone had a blood transfusion before. It's not painful. I sat in a chair just like if I was going to dialysis. They'll plug me in. I just sit there with a blanket, put a headset on, and the blood just goes through the system. You know, it's coming out of this bag that's standing above you, and it will just drip down into my body. And I was really nervous, and I was scared the first time I did it because I'm like, you know, what if somebody had something, and would I get this? And then they explained all the screening processes that you had to go through. And at that point, I was either facing death or, you know, getting a blood transfusion. And they said, you know, because I was so anemic, it was starting to affect other things. So when I was having chest pains, that could have been a factor, as well as the fluid building up. So there was multiple different things that can cause other issues in your body. It's definitely important that you work on your anemia if you could, just because it affects other parts of your body as well. 12th and the last thing is a rise in your potassium. I wasn't too familiar with the potassium because it's a number that I never really looked at. The only reason that a lot of people look at the potassium number is because when you're going through dialysis or your end stage, you know, disease, you know, it's a very important number. They don't want you to have a high potassium. So they always tell you to take your phosphorus binders and, you know, try to do things to control things that are high in potassium. And so I never really looked at that number. So when I first got on dialysis, my number was high. I don't remember exactly the number itself, but I remember that it was high for the first, maybe the first month of dialysis. It was a little bit high, but then I got it under control. And I was taking my binders when I used to eat. And then after some time, I really noticed that I didn't need it. So I told my doctor, how would we know if I really need my binders if I'm taking my binders all the time? So let's test me not doing the binders and see if there's a difference. And I didn't need the binder. I didn't even use the binders for long. I used it for a short period of time. For other people, you may need your binders every time you eat, but in my situation, my doctor was okay with me not having to take it all the time because I controlled my numbers and I make sure it was perfect each and every week. So those are some of the signs that you may be experiencing kidney failure, or you may know someone that are experiencing some of these symptoms. Please share this video with them because it might be informational, that it can save someone's life. Dealing with kidney disease is very hard, guys. Try to preserve your kidneys as much as possible so you don't end up where I was on end-stage renal disease, because once you get there, then you have to do dialysis, where they poke a hole in your chest to put your perm cap. And from your perm cap, I had to get a fistula done. Look at how ugly my arm looks now, and then I had to sit at dialysis for 4 hours at a time, put a needle in my arm. It was not fun. And then I had to go around and try to beg someone for a kidney. Thank God my brother was generous enough to help me, and I don't have to go through that anymore. But try to preserve your health as much as possible, because health is wealth. And without your health, you have nothing. So I couldn't really enjoy life, because once I got onto dialysis, I was going 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for about 4 hours each session. And when I was done with that, I was extremely tired. So take the signs seriously. If you start to notice, frequent urination, if you start to notice certain things happening, your numbers are getting all crazy, get a nephrologist. Have your doctor refer you to a nephrologist so you can actually get tests, so you can figure out what's going on and you can put a stop to it before it gets worse. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching these videos. I hope the signs that I gave you for kidney failure comes in handy so you know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. I just want to let you guys know I love and appreciate you. Alright guys, see you next video.